Okay. Everybody look at worksheets you have there. I'm actually going to go, if you'll look on for today where it says semester test review, you click there. You should be able to click there. Well, how wonderful. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, there it is. More details. That's where we wanted to go to. Okay. As you can see, we have some directions here. It says students will use the guidelines of the attached PDF for their 45-question practice test. There will be 3 separate things to make. First, the test itself. Each student will use problems from the book for each practice test question. Example, number 1 could be page 8, number 2. There's no need to rewrite the question from the book. You'll just write page 8, number 2. Okay? And I'll show you how and then students are to take and correct their own practice test, showing all steps and work. This needs to be on a separate sheet of paper than the test itself. So you basically have 3 different things on 3 separate kind of sheets. Each student must make also a key for their classmate to use to quickly grade and correct your practice test when you take it Friday. So I would suggest probably using odd problems because they're all in the back of the book, right? It makes it easy to correct and to make a key. Okay, now I'm going to click on that and you'll see the PDF we have here. Now, everybody look at number 1. So you know, this is taken directly from when I create a test, everyone, okay? When I create a test, the test program at the end says, okay, here's what each question entails. It's how it sets up the answer key. All I did is take the answer away. Okay, and then copied and pasted this to an Excel file where it's a little easier to read. So this is your test. Your question number 1 on your test tomorrow or Tuesday will be a topic identifying and model points, lines, and planes. See that right here on number 1? It will be from the objective 1-1.1, identify and model points and planes. So you need to be able to identify planes. Where is it referenced from? Section what? 1.1. Key words, points, lines, and planes. Okay? And it's from chapter 1. So I'm telling you exactly what you need to study, exactly what type of problem to make your number 1. So put some time into this. Please take the headphones out. Put phones up, all that stuff up. Make sense? And if you lose your piece of paper, like I said, it's on the deal for today. So then what you're going to do is, okay, I need to have something that's identifying points, lines, or planes. So now I'm going to put up and bring up section what? 1.1 from the book, right? Yeah. Well, I'll go to the problems from 1.1. Okay. Do any of these look like I'm identifying a point, a line, or a plane? You could probably start with number 1, couldn't you? So when I go to start my test, of course, you're going to put your name up here. You know, top right, fall semester. Or we don't even put semester, just fall practice. Semester test. You know, whatever you want to write on top. Okay, so now I'm going to have number 1 here. So, number 1. Or what do we say number 1 was? It's on page what? Number 1. So I'll write neatly, page 8, comma, number 1. Now I'm ready to go on to number 2. Number 2. What does number 2 ask of us? Let's go over to here. Number 2 says that this problem is identify model points, lines, and planes. It's still from section 1.1, points, lines, and planes. So I probably need to look for one that I haven't done, right? I did number 1, and that was a line containing point X. So let's, maybe move down a little bit further and maybe find another one. Go on to something down here. This looks like a good one to help you practice on something besides that one. 15, name a plane containing lines M and T. You want to do that one? Okay. So number 2, what page was that again? Still page 8. So I would write page what? 8, number what? Now I'm ready to go on to number 3 on my practice test. You guys see what we're doing, making a practice test now. We're going along using the criteria that I've given to you that just so happens to be what? From the actual test itself. Make sense? Kind of? What? Ask a question then. Or just what do you not get? It's okay not to get some of it too. I'm not trying to. Okay. Well, you got to tell me what confuses you. What you're supposed to do. What we're doing is you're making your own practice test. Okay, for you to say, okay, I need to practice these problems that are going to be on my semester test, right? So what I'm doing is we're going to make one. Okay. And like I said, I decided that was going to be my question number 1. That's my question number 2. But when I say follow the criteria I've given you, what I'm saying is, and this is a good question, is number 3 should be from section what? But what is the key word there? I probably need to look for a problem that has what in it? What, guys? Look up here. Grant, for number 3, the key is what? Collinear points. So when I'm looking for a problem to make my number 3, I probably need to look for a problem that has something to do with what? Collinear points. So now, somewhere in this section, they had to have asked me about collinear points, right? So let's go up and see if there's anything on page 8. Where do you see? Where do you see the word collinear? You guys tell me. I'll zoom in a little more. Yeah, right here. Number 9 says name 3 points that are collinear. Great. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think number 9 on page 8 would be perfect for number 3, wouldn't it? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say page 8, number what? So what you're doing, and this is what you do, you've already gone over this, but it's been a while since you've done it, right? So what you're doing is picking problems to do to help what? Your mind remind you about what? Is it hard to understand what collinear points are? Guys, stop messing with other things. No. But if you didn't look at it before you took the test, you might forget. And then you kick yourself when you realize, oh my gosh, that's just when 3 points are on the same line. Those are the type of problems you need to dominate on this test, right? The easy problems. So this is your way of making sure making your own study guide, making your own practice test to figure out what I need to study. Yes. No, that's just, it says, when you go to, really the objective is more the objective, the state objective. Okay. Probably the objective, I left it there just because it's one more thing, but really, probably what you're going to look at is the reference. Reference, lesson 1.1, keywords, points, lines, and planes, and then what chapter it's from. Does that make sense? If you want to look up what those that objective is in the book, because those objectives are in the book, then you can, and it can explain maybe a little more of the type. But really, if you look at number 3, it's from lesson 1.1. Okay? So you're going to make this, and you're going to have all this on a separate sheet of paper. So then on Friday at the first of the hour, this is when all this has to be done. And I will give a grade and go walk around, stop writing, guys. I'd rather I guess you can use these as your first 3 problems. But, okay. But when you trade with someone else, you're going to hand them this sheet of paper. So I don't want you doing your work on this sheet of paper, right? That's why I was saying on a separate sheet, you're going to have 3 different things. Okay, first you're going to make your practice test. That's the first thing you're going to do, right? You guys stop messing with other things and listen. Stop messing with anything and listen. 1, you're going to make, how many questions are there on this test? Well, you guys have a sheet, don't you? How far does it go to? There's 45 problems on this test, so you should have 45 problems on your practice test. Stop messing with things. Be still and listen. It's not Christmas yet. I'll send a note to Santa. That was a joke. Thank you. Thank you for the laughs now. Anyhow, so you're going to do all of this. You're going to have your test made. Then you yourself are going to do what? Show all steps and work on a what? Separate sheet of paper and take your test. Those 2 things you should have done by Friday, first of the hour. Third thing you should have done, you need to have a key ready for what? For the person that's taking your test can see how they're doing as they're doing it, to let them use while they're doing it or afterwards, to make sure they're doing things correct. And that key shouldn't take long if you just use use the odds and just all you're doing is writing 1 through 40 and writing the answer down, aren't you? That shouldn't take very long. This is a nice creative assignment where you get to kind of choose different things and, and then you get to take someone else's. So you're going to do 2 separate assignments. This is for a grade. You basically have to have something, and I'll have you turn it in, or I'll look at it on Friday and say, hey, who's got this done? Walk around while you're doing it and show me what you got while you're taking someone else's test. Okay? Yes, sir. While you're taking the semester test? Yeah. No. Your help on the semester test is that the notes are half the semester test. Okay? Notes are half the semester test. Any more questions?
Can we have our notes out?
No. Your help, again, still, is that half the semester test is something all you had to do is come in and write what's on the board and pay attention. And does that make sense? So you should be able to make 100% on half your test, meaning that if you make a 50% on the test, you have actually a 75% for your semester test grade. If you got your notes done effectively, within reason, it shouldn't affect your letter grade unless you were a 90 and made a 75. That might bring it down to an 89. Does that make sense? You might need to make an 80% or something like that, or an 82%, but that's still only a 64% if you turn all your notes in. If you are curious what notes we have, all you have to do is go back to what? The calendar. And literally, as this doesn't want to cooperate, go back and you see this is December, November. It's all there, isn't it? What we did every single time. You should have notes from what? Starting 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5. And then what? 1-6 and 1-7. But 1-6 and 1-7, anytime we did it on the same day, that's one set of notes, isn't it? Does that make sense? So you just go and you count. You can count how many you should have. Guys, part of preparing you for college, preparing you for harder classes is, and the reason we only let you exempt one class is you know what they call this week in college? No, they call it dead week. Not because you're going to die from doing it, but because if you walk around campus, it's usually pretty dead. Because every single person has got to be sitting around doing what? Studying for all their college tests. And they were 20%, whatever your grade, or, you could replace. My grade in college, this is a while ago, was A lot of my math classes was about 4 tests and then the semester test. They were all the same. But you know what you do with the semester test? You could replace, if it was higher than your lowest test grade, you could replace one with it. So it really could help you a lot. And if you were gone, let's say you were sick and no way you can make it to a test, that's a 0, and you're going to have to replace it with your semester test. There was no absence policy or anything like that. So, like I said, we need to help prepare you for that. You also need to learn how to work hard at something and succeed at it. You guys have got you're going to have a big reward waiting for you after Tuesday. You're not going to have to go to school for 2 weeks, are you? Get Christmas and all that stuff. So it should be a lot of work for you. You should be busy at night over the next 3 nights. You should have a couple hours of homework to do. Okay, but it's there's a light at the end of the tunnel, isn't there? And there's also a nice thing. And this, some people think it's bad, but I think it's a good thing. We're doing it Monday, Tuesday. So not only do you have tonight, Thursday, and Friday, Thursday to study, you have Saturday and Sunday. You have those days where you're not in school and can do some stuff. So just cancel, don't do a whole lot this weekend and get yourself ready, and then you get the 2 weeks off. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
To recap, the first part is questions and the number page.
Right, you're doing exactly like that. 1 through. You're taking your test, yeah.
Third part
Is an answer key, yeah. That's what all you need to have done by first day or Friday. Okay? And you got 25 minutes in this class. So that took a little longer than I wanted it to, but it's important we get this straight, and I'm glad I recorded it because I'm going to post it to today. And then you'll be able to look at it if you have any questions.